Hello and welcome to episode 8 of Muggle Yarns. I am Kate, also known as Miss Anthropenips on Ravelry and Instagram. That's where I am, Instagram.
Yes. And I am Becca, aka RBF42 on Ravelry and Instagram. And collectively we are Muggle Yarns on Ravelry, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Ello.
Yeah, I haven't been on Ello
MuggleYarns.com.
in months, so yeah.
Me neither. MuggleYarns.com, and everything is listed there. So.
Absolutely.
Yay. Yeah.
So we are, well, I would say that we are recording more regularly. However, it literally took me 8 days to edit and post the last episode. So that's not really more regularly. That's mostly just feels that way because it took so long for me to post the last one.
But it was kind of funny because I'm like sitting like 2-3 days after we recorded, and I was like, oh crap, I forgot to do the screens. So I'm like, made it really, really quickly. I'm thinking,
Yeah.
she's waiting for me.
Still hadn't edited yet. Trust me, I would have asked you for them if that's all I was waiting on, but that wasn't all of it.
Yeah, but that's okay.
But in the meantime, we have been running a new contest. We've got a couple entries already, which is cool. I posted the prompt on our various social media outlets. So you're going to use your birth date, the month, and the day.
Month, right.
And then your favorite color. And that...
Green.
And yeah. I'm wearing all red today. Green.
Apparently both our favorite colors is green.
And then it's gonna create a sentence for you. So it's just a goofy little, meme prompt thing. So if you post your answer on one of those social media outlets that we talked about, one of those things that we already discussed, we'll enter you into the contest to win the Lorna's Laces yarn. Winter is Coming colorway.
Pretty.
And there's a photo of the yarn on the Ravelry form. Yeah, in our group. And then all of the other ones just have a picture of the prompt. So, if you have any questions about it, feel free to ask in the forum. I've gotten a couple of questions, and because we never explained it really very well last time.
Well, we would have, except I think it got posted several days before the podcast went up.
Yeah.
So
it was a little confusing, and so hopefully that clarifies things. If not, let us know. Yeah.
But that's good, right? Because that means people are actually looking at our stuff.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think that's all of our administrati. That's all we've got really for that. So that contest runs through the end of February too. So our first podcast in March is when we'll do the drawing, and then I'll mail the yarn out. / ask my husband to do it if I'm not home.
Maybe you'll be in Miami by then.
Woo!
I don't know. So what are you working on right now? You're always knitting during our podcast.
I am, because it's like the only time I have during the day to knit. It's very important to me. But right now, well, do we want to go out of order? I mean, I can tell you I'm working on some socks. They're green.
Oh, right. Finished object. I've got nothing. Go for it.
Well, last week I was working on the honey cowl, one of my belated Christmas presents, and I finished it before I finished editing the podcast. Oops. So there's actually a photo. Yeah, there's actually a photo in last week's of the finished cowl. So you saw there was a photo of me wearing it. Yeah. And then I also made a hat for one of my installer friends. It's the Weather hat by, now I can't remember her last name. Forgive me. I have Ravelry up right here. It's going to tell me.
Of course you do. Oops. Apparently typing in
Williams,
when
Megan
you're trying
Williams. Sorry, that was an inordinately long pause. I apologize. So yeah, Weather the Weather Hat by Megan Williams. One of our Stockinette Zombie friends. It's one of the podcasts I watch. I'm a fan.
Yay.
And I used a skein of Nerd Girl yarns. It's a discontinued base, but I got it out of someone's D-stash. So it's pretty blue and green and gray colorway called Secluded Spring. So that was my other finished thing. My quick, easy, heavier than
and that was the
weight
fingerings.
project. No, my honey
Doing
cow
your
was
fingering.
DK and the hat was worsted. I'm branching out.
Amazing.
I know.
I'm going back.
Except for those are the only 2 skeins of non-fingering weight that I have with me. And they're already gone. I already knitted them.
That's okay. You are near, I'm sure there's a knitting shop somewhere nearby.
Well, I'm trying to resist. I still have
Resist the temptation.
3 more projects that I can do with the yarn that I have with me, in addition to the one I'm working on right now. So I will not buy any more yarn while I'm out traveling until I finish those projects. I'm afraid I might run out, though. I'll be honest.
Then you're allowed to buy more.
Mhm.
Sorry, Patrick.
Well, I mean, I won't ever run out of yarn that I own, but I may run out of yarn on this trip. If that makes sense. I didn't pack enough.
Could you just imagine, like, if you call him up and be like, send me some yarn, and then I have to make something based on what you send me? Could you imagine what you would get?
I
One
would.
from here, one from here, one from here. Come on,
No,
that would be
I
kind
would
of funny.
probably give him very specific instructions on what to send
That'd
me.
be kind of fun.
Makes
Patrick,
me
you should
nervous.
send her a random skein.
Makes me nervous.
Get out of my craft room.
I de-stashed some yarn on my last trip and I had him send it out for me. And I came back and all my yarn was on the floor. Because he had to dig through it. I told him it was okay. I was like, this, you know, you're going to have to pull it out to find what you need to send. And it was just all in a big pile on the floor.
Oh no, of course it was the one on the bottom. The dog is like running back and forth, and I'm surprised that you can't hear her toes. I would have no idea how to tell Steve where to find my yarn if I needed to sell something.
I have a
What?
weird, like, almost eidetic memory of, like, where each skein lives.
Well, mine is kind of, there's some in the closet, there's some in the ottoman, there's some on the couch. Like, I wouldn't have any clue.
Well, even
I don't
before I
really
had
know
my
where it
fancy shelf with all of the cubbies for colors, and my yarn was kind of sporadically all over the place, like, I knew exactly where stuff was. Like, even when my yarn was in garbage bags in storage in Kentucky, like, I knew where they were in the storage unit and in which bag. Kind of a freak.
Hey, there's a small fortune in those bags.
Yeah. Also, while all of my
Maybe not
yarn...
so small.
not so small. While all of my yarn was in storage, I basically doubled the size of my stash because I didn't have access to any of the other yarn, and so I was like, oh, I'm making money now. I'm just going to buy a bunch of yarn, and oh, God, now I have twice as much as I had before. That's pretty much where my stash exploded. And it's been growing ever since.
Back in, Nerd Wars days when we were doing that Show Me Your Stash, I actually went out, like, we've got this little hall closet, it's about this big, and I went and I bought just one of those, like, put together bookshelves, and it was the tall, skinny kind that has like 3 drawers, and I kind of put 2 of them together, and then I took a small, skinny one and I flipped it upside down so it would have bookshelves, but like bookends, and it just fits in our little hall closet. And then I went in each of the shelves and I bought little bins that perfectly fit in there, and I was super, super organized. And then I bought more yarn, and then it was kind of everywhere. But
yeah, I have the yarn.
Room.
I have the yarn that fits in the big shelf, the little 4x4 square shelf thing that is organized by color and nice. And then I have the yarn that continues to come in, and it won't fit in the shelf anymore, so it's just kind of sitting on my desk or on the floor, waiting for me to make room for it. Pretty much out of room in my fiber cubbies. I have 4 fiber cubbies. They're all full.
Plus, we have some Kickstarter yarns coming up soon. The fiber, and then that other one that was fiber with the knitting bag.
Yeah.
I can't remember when those are coming out.
I got an
February,
update from
March, April.
I got an update from her. I think she was having issues with the space that she bought or something, or was that fibers? I got a couple.
I think that was fibers. One of them, she couldn't get it like permitting or something like that.
I think that was fibers. The other one was she's in school or something and like didn't have time, or so. I don't remember what it was, but anyway, they're coming out. I mean, when I back something on Kickstarter, I'm like not really concerned about the deadlines that are set. I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna want this eventually. It's fibery things. Like, I clearly don't need it right now.
Right. There was this new one that I was looking at, and I was like, ooh, I think I need to back them. But she's only at 58%, so
well,
I don't know.
What is it? Tell us about it, and I'll link it.
Dashing Docs. I'm guessing like a Dachshund, DACHS. Fine Yarns Studio Updates. She's got 19 days to go.
Okay.
Her goal is $5,000, and she is at 29.24 right now. And she is actually doing it's to grow her dye studio. She's out of Erie, Pennsylvania. So I thought about doing one of hers because, like, she specifically says, I want a skein winder, I want a ball winder, I want a knitting machine, I want a this, I want a this. And I kind of feel like people like that really know what they're doing, unlike me, who was just like, I want to knit stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Support me. I mean, the first one, or the second one, I guess, the $10 one where you can name a color, would be really cool, like, if you actually get the yarn, but I don't think you do.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right. I like the names of her bases, though.
Yeah, but she's got, like, an R2-D2 and a C-3PO and swimming puppy, but those, she only had, like, one ball or one skein in each colorway.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But if you keep scrolling, she has a Star Wars club.
Oh, really?
Really?
I really like the R2-D2 colorway. C-3PO
I love the C-3PO.
It's really pretty.
Yeah.
That would make a lovely shawl.
So I was, I've been looking at that one for quite a while. But we just, like, totally went tangent.
Well, we just segued into stash enhancement because this is fantastic.
Yeah, we segued into stash enhancement a long time ago.
So if I do it and you get that notification that I do it, does that mean you're going to...
Are you kidding? I'm sitting on here right now and I'm like, what kind of yarn do I want?
I definitely want to do this Star Wars club. That is definitely happening.
Where is that? Oh, $69? That's really good.
That's really good for a club. Or you could do 96 and do the club and C-3PO.
No, she's already out of C-3PO. There's only one skein of each.
Oh, no, you're right. The 96 was one backer, and it's all gone.
Yeah. Like, the $24 was one skein of R2-D2 DK.
Maybe she'll do bonus,
Stretch goal
rewards, yeah. No, I'm thinking that Star Wars Club thing is definitely gonna happen. Yeah.
I know I've got like all this money right now, and I'm like, no, I need to not spend it. I got bills to pay. I've got a kid to adopt. I can't spend money. But pretty yarn.
I have no such self-control.
I know. I need to have it. Because that's how I got into this debt in the first place.
Yeah. I know 2015 is year of Star Wars, though. It'll be the new movie. Star Wars Celebration.
J.J. Abrams!
The new comic books just started last Wednesday. The first issue came out. Ask me how I know.
How do you know, Kate?
Because my husband went and got it, and also signed up for the Marvel online thingy, so I can read it.
You know, it's interesting because we were at the Comic-Con this weekend, and there was nothing. It was kind of weird. Like, they were not talking about Star Wars any more than normal.
That's weird.
Yeah, it was, like, more focused on, well, as usual, Doctor Who stuff, because the Sixth Doctor was there, and Karen Gillian was there, and Dan Starkey was there, and other people were there. But there was, did you see my post today that MegaCon, which is the one that we go to every year in Orlando, Karen Gillian just signed on to go there. And that is where the entire Arrow cast was supposed to be, and they're slowly canceling one by one. And
I thought that was the one this weekend. Oh.
No, this one was, it was brand new. July 4th weekend, there's one, it's Florida SuperCon, and we started going to that one when we moved down here like 4 years ago, and it's the same guy, and I guess he figured, hey, January needs a con too. So he got some really, really great people. Like, it started on Friday, and Thursday they posted that Rebecca Mader was coming. And I follow her on Twitter, but I haven't been on Twitter in a while. But she was in Lost. She played Charlotte in Lost.
Okay.
She was the Wicked Witch in Once Upon a Time. She was in The Devil Wears Prada, which I only know that because I watched it last night. I was like, that looks like. But she's been in a ton of stuff. Cool. But she was kind of like a last minute guest. But there was some really, really cool people that were there. And, I mean, we went Saturday, and it was kind of like, I'm done, I'm bored. Can we go home? I felt like the parents that were walking around following their kids. I'm like, I'm kind of bored.
Aww. Did you get any good panels or anything?
No, and because it was their first one, the panel sucked. Like, I didn't make it to any of the Q&As because we got there too late. And, well, I saw Karen's, and my friend took a photo with her, and kind of like I took with John Barron. Mm-hmm. But she's like, man, I hope she's in a better mood at SuperCon or at MegaCon because she was a real bitch this weekend.
Oh, no. That's so sad.
Like, you just spent $50 and you didn't have a good experience.
Mm. I don't know. Her show that was on this fall got canceled.
Selfie.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it's so funny because when I posted that she was coming to MegaCon, one of my friends was like, oh my god, how did I not know that the girl in Selfie, whatever, Eliza, whatever, is the same person that played Nebula. I'm like, she's also from Doctor Who.
But when, like the very first moment that I saw Nebula in Guardians of the Galaxy, I was like, oh, it's Cara Delevingne! I was really excited.
Well, I knew that she was doing it. I had no idea what Guardians of the Galaxy was, because he knew. But she shaved her head.
Yeah, I had no idea.
For Comic-Con, like, I mean, I knew she was in it. I didn't know what she was doing, but I knew that she shaved her head for Comic-Con because she, like, took her wig off and threw it into the crowd. And nobody knew why, like, she shaved her head. But kind of like when Matt shaved his head. But I don't know. I'm glad that she's in stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. She was
I like Rory
freaking intimidating in Guardians of the Galaxy, too.
She was a badass.
Which is going to get me started on Lee Pace and how amazing he is, but...
Sean Gunn was also there.
Oh, really? That's cool. Did you get to go to that panel?
No, I don't think he even had a Q&A, but oddly enough, one of my friends
had... So did you just do autographs, or what?
They do autographs, and then they do, like, the photo ops, but one of my friends was at the same hotel for a conference, like for a training. She's like, I might have to go get a photograph with Kirk. But he was in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, did you ever get to see the extras?
No, we haven't bought it yet, but I know that he played Rocket. Like, when he was on
all
screen.
Like hunched down and like walks around. It's creepy. It's very Kirk when he does it.
Well, I was gonna say it's kind of Kirk.
Yeah, it's pretty creepy.
I mean, it was an interesting con just because it was the first one, and I've never been to like the first con.
The only con I've ever been to was in Lexington, Kentucky, and it was the first.
You need to come. Tell them you need to be in Orlando April 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. I'm telling you. We already have our hotel room for 3 nights.
I can try. Even if I go, I won't have any spare time.
You'll make time. We'll kidnap you. You're so close.
I know.
You're in Jacksonville.
I am. I'm so close. We're in the same state.
I know.
You're
but
just
except like I'm all the way down here and you're all the way up here. Yeah. If you were in Tallahassee, is the only way you could be farther from me right now in Florida. But whatever. Eventually, we'll meet. Yeah.
But
so back to this whole knitting thing.
Oh yeah, right? The things that we're talking about. So you asked me earlier what I'm making right now. I am knitting my father-in-law's socks for Christmas.
It's the middle of January.
It's past the middle of January.
Oh. I was being polite.
No, I'm well aware. Yeah, they are, the yarn is from Nerd Girl Yarn's Random Fandom Club last year sometime, and it's the Jurassic Park yarn. It's called Clever Girl, so it's from the Raptors. And it's, the base is Swagger, which is a BFL base, and it's really hard wearing. It's very good for socks. So I'm kind of enjoying that. And I'm putting a DNA, like a double helix pattern.
Double helix.
On the top, on the toe there. So I'll post a picture because obviously you can't see this very well right now. But
and it'll probably be done by the time we post this.
Hey, I will edit faster this time.
You knit really fast.
I haven't even gotten to the heels yet.
That wasn't a knock at how long it takes to post. You're kind of working all the time. That was you knit really fast.
Yeah, not fast enough to get my stuff done in time for Christmas, though, apparently.
We can just pretend that you did, okay?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I take my knitting with me everywhere, so really anytime I have, like, 2 minutes together of spare time, I bust out my knitting. So that's part of why I get stuff done. Because, like, I'll be sitting around waiting for our database for the menus and stuff to refresh. That can take up to 5 minutes sometimes. So if I'm just sitting there staring at the screen, I may as well be knitting. Right? Because otherwise I want to chuck my computer across the room because nothing should take 5 minutes to load. We live in 2015. That is not acceptable. Really? You know what I mean?
Well,
so
yes.
I knit so I don't throw things.
I thought it was I knit so I don't kill people.
Well,
or stab my screen.
Yeah, exactly. You can't really kill the technology. It's counterproductive. Because of maintenance sometimes.
I was given permission to purchase the Creative Cloud at work.
The Adobe.
So I got.
Nice.
So I went from having to create stuff in Word and PowerPoint to being able to use the absolute latest Photoshop and InDesign and Illustrator and oh my gosh, it's
Is
so
that a
nice.
subscription service?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Like they prepaid for it for an entire year, and the director of marketing came in and she told me, and I was like, you realize this means I'm stuck here for a year. She's like, I wonder if we could prepay for like 3 years.
Twist my arm.
I know, right?
That's
but
so cool.
my work computer, thank God that it's a subscription cloud-based because there's only 2 gigs of RAM on my computer at work.
Oh, yeah, that's not going to work, especially with the newest versions. No.
No, I mean, you have to download it, but it's all stored, like, in the cloud.
Yeah.
And I basically can't work on anything while I'm using it.
Well,
I need them to
use
now
it one
purchase
at a
me
time.
RAM.
You can't have Photoshop and Illustrator open if you've only got 2. Like, you can't have them both open at the same time. It'll crash your computer.
I learned that today.
Yeah, that's bad news.
When
What
I
are they
had
up to now?
InDesign and it's just called CC.
Oh. They're not numbering them anymore?
But well, no, because it's the Creative Cloud. But they keep updating it, and then, like, you can download the patches and whatever.
That's cool.
But, oh, hello, puppy. But I think it was up to 6 before they did the subscription.
Yeah, I don't remember. I think the last one I ever used was CS4, so.
I think I have 4 at home.
Yeah. I'm way behind the times.
Yeah, you and me both.
So expensive though, like it wasn't. I'm never gonna.
But what's really cool is if you have say hello to Lola. She really wanted to be up here. If you have CS3 or higher, you could get it for $30 a month or whatever that is times 12.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to do math right now. But because I had nothing on my computer and I didn't have the serial number, I had to pay $600 for an entire year, though. Because if you think about it,
you would buy.
If you outright buy it, it's like $3,000 for the entire everything.
Yeah, for the whole suite. It was more like, well, it was still like $2,000 or $2,400 or something.
But like for the master collection?
No, just for the I always just did the design suite because I don't use like Dreamweaver or Flash or anything. Because all I needed was.
I like Dreamweaver because I pull stuff into it when I'm really lazy and I don't want to go and do it in Notepad. So I would pull stuff into it, but then I'd have to clean up the code anyway.
Yeah. I spent all day with boys writing code. and I'm like sitting over there playing on Excel. I was like, okay, so your logic statements that you're writing right now, that makes sense to me. I just don't know like the language. I don't know the syntax. Like I could do what you're doing with logic statements in Excel. That I can do.
I learned something new in Excel, and I was like, Kay would be so proud of me. I don't remember what it was, but I was like, I just learned something in Excel. It's at work, so like if I open my spreadsheet tomorrow, I can be like, that's what it was.
That's what it was.
But like I have all of these, if this is true, then add this column up and carry it over to this spreadsheet that's over here, but I have to keep them always open, so it's always updating. But then I was just kind of like, I opened one of the spreadsheets and I was like, oh crap, I had it linked. I wanted to see how much we'd updated since I saved that spreadsheet, but it was already linked, and as soon as I opened it, it refreshed all the numbers. Like,
oh, so you can do a snapshot or something?
Yes. Ow.
What happened?
She fell. She fell. She smacked her knee. Oh, wait, no. She smacked her head on my knee.
Ow.
When I lifted my knee up and I hit it on the table.
Oh, my God. You okay?
Yeah, fine.
We're a little unconscious tonight.
I haven't had alcohol, and that's the best part. Yeah.
It's getting late for me. I'm a little tired.
We're in the same time zone.
We're in the same state.
I know!
Although part of your state is on Central Time. Your state is
I
weird.
know, my state's weird. We kind of know that by now, though.
So where were we?
So
More tangents?
I have no idea where we were.
I think we're talking about what we're working on right now. So I'm working on these socks.
Right. I'm still working on your gloves.
Okay. It's kind of in Florida. I don't need them right now.
I know. And I bought the yarn that I talked about in the last podcast for the commission scarf, and I should start that. I found my size 3 16-inch circulars yesterday, so that was a good start.
You're gonna knit that Aran weight with size 3 needles?
Yeah, I didn't realize quite how tiny it was until I took it out of the pouch, and I was like,
it's gonna hurt.
It's I know. I want to go up, but then the scarf will be really, really wide. And because
do you want to send me the chart for the duplicate stitch, and I maybe can look at it and simplify it? I mean, it might not be as detailed, but I don't know.
Yeah, because I was thinking, like, if I go up a couple of size needles, then that would be great on my hands. But when I have to do the duplicate, it's not going to be in the same place. Like, the chart's going to be wrong.
Right, but I mean, you can redo the chart so that it's not maybe as refined and detailed, but
unless like I switch to size 3 needles and towards the end, and then I cast on a lot more, and then I try not to blow my brains out. On the upside, it's only one side for the crest. She doesn't want it on both sides. Okay, she's fine.
Are you, have you figured out how to do the provisional cast on for that?
I found the needles yesterday.
So now?
No, and because it's knit in the round, I didn't want to start it until I found my circulars. So.
That's fair.
I think I'm crazy, but we knew that already. Yeah. That's pretty much it. That's all I'm working on. I have a bunch of other stuff that I need to do, like work freelance stuff, but it's not knitting related.
Yeah. Well, my imagineering hasn't changed since last week. I still have to do my mother-in-law's cowl for Christmas, and then my husband requested a hat out of self-striping yarn, and I have yarn for a colorwork shawl that I'm going to start after his hat is done. And then...
And am I going to run out of yarn?
If I finish all of those things, I will have run out of yarn, yes. Mildly disconcerting, because I don't know how long I'm going to be out. I don't know how long it'll be before I go home again.
I still say he randomly grabs you yarn and you have to make something out of it.
We'll see. There's a chance yet that I might be going home after this project. I wouldn't say it's a very good chance, but it's a possibility because of how my
schedule. You're here until
is.
Saturday?
Yeah. So I might go home for a while after this project. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe I will go straight to my next project. I don't really know.
Which you have no idea where that will be anyway.
No, I will probably find out tomorrow if I am going somewhere. I will get my preliminary notification that, hey, this is where you're going next and here are your days. And then by Thursday usually is when they tell us the details and we're allowed to book our travel. So, I don't know yet. I might find out tomorrow.
Maybe you'll come to Miami and then we can have fun.
Well, I know of a few projects going on, and I actually did some programming on a site in Miami. So I know that's coming up. I don't know when.
That's very exciting.
I don't know if I'll be on it.
You know that it's going to be the one weekend that I actually go somewhere if you make it here. You know that, right?
Obviously.
I know, right?
We'll sigh.
Yeah.
What about you? Do you have any more imagining? Have you been planning anything?
No, I'm just trying to get through this scarf because I have so much going on at work that I, don't want to do anything when I get home.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to do anything. We have this huge... So I work in fundraising and development for a JCC here, and it's like a YMCA. Some people don't actually know what a JCC is. It's kind of like a YMCA.
Well, not all of us are from Florida.
But there's JCCs everywhere.
Or New York.
Okay, fine. It's Jewish Community Center. Anyway.
I've never heard of them until you started working there. And JCC means junior community college, where I'm from.
Okay, well, it stands for Jewish Community Center, and I work at the one on Miami Beach, and I am in fundraising, and we are currently fundraising and working on a journal, basically. It's just like this big book. It goes in the newspaper. And I think when I met you, I was working on one for the school I worked for.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing the same thing with the same boss, who is why I'm now at the JCC. But we are working on this, and it's nonstop. And I've been working 9-10 hour days. And it's crazy. We have an amazing team, but it's my boss's first journal, so we're trying to raise tons of money, and
what kind of stuff do you put in it?
Well, it's because it's actually going into the Miami Herald, which is the largest newspaper in South Florida, and it's actually going into 30,000 homes. Not just the boxes, it's actually going to be in the house, in the homes, in the weekend section. It's an amazing advertising opportunity for anybody in this area because you're guaranteed. It's also the Food and Wine Festival weekend. So if you're
Everybody's gonna be
coming to Miami, Right. Like, we're in the same section. It's the weekend section. It's the Food and Wine Festival and our gala journal in the same section. So, I mean, we have, like, hotels and restaurants and just kind of, like, small businesses. We've got kind of anybody. And then you take out an ad, like, in honor of whoever the people are that are being honored. So there's, like, people that are splitting their ads between their business and personal congratulations. And then we have a big party, and, like, a really, really big party. And I'm so excited about this party that I've been shopping online, and I hate shopping. I'm trying to find, like, a really fun dress, and, like, I've been all over modcloth.com, and
I love ModCloth.
A little obsessed.
I love ModCloth. The one complaint I have about ModCloth is that their dresses are always a little shorter than I want them to be.
Well, that's what happens when you got boobs.
Yeah, or long legs. But
Wow.
that style, like the 50, 60 style dresses, are always longer than knee length. And when I get them, they're always higher than knee length. Like, this isn't quite the way the style's supposed to be.
Well, if they're knee length and you wear your crinoline, then they're pretty far above knee length.
Yeah.
I want to, cause like the dress that I'm like, haven't bought it yet, cause it's like $90 and then the crinoline is like $60. It's like the big black and white polka dots with a halter and like a red crinoline, which they're currently out of course.
A red crinoline with a black and white polka dot dress would be amazing.
And like I've already got in my shopping cart like a little red 3/4 sleeve cropped cardigan. I'm like, I can wear whatever I want. I don't have to hide my tattoos.
You can do
I don't have to wear a long dress. I don't have to cover up to my neck, down to my ankles. Like, I worked at a really religious school, and I couldn't wear what I wanted to wear. So now I'm just like, I'm totally going all out. Plus,
do
Steve
it
is
like
gonna come
straight up
with me.
rockabilly. Do like the big victory rolls.
I mean, except for the fact that I'm planning it and I actually have to work.
Is it themed at all, or is it just wear whatever? It just.
Oh, it's like a cocktail party.
Okay.
Morimoto is coming.
I don't know who that is.
Food Network. Iron Chef.
Okay.
Go away. I'm so excited.
Is it on
Actually,
Netflix? If it's not on Netflix, I've probably never seen it.
It's on the Food Network.
We didn't have cable for a long time, okay?
Okay, fine. Look it up.
Alright.
I'm very excited. Like, I'm super, super excited. But,
is he cooking, or is he just going to be there?
He is, well, since it's a Jewish community center, the food has to be kosher. But our caterer is doing culinary inspirations inspired by like a bunch of chefs, like famous chefs. And he's one of them. And because we have an in with his people, he's actually like, sure, I'll come. So he's going to come and like hang out. I'm just like, that's amazing.
I'm sorry I didn't know who this person was. I'm sorry. I ruined the fun. I know. I'm completely worthless.
I should bring Steve out here just for his reaction and just like impose it over yours. We love the Food Network. Look 'em up.
I used to watch it when I was younger, like, I don't know, when I was, before I started working and was at home in the evenings and stuff. I really liked Alton Brown. I liked Good Eats. But then it got really weird, like, in the later seasons, and I don't know. So I don't watch Food Network anymore. And I also really don't like Rachel Ray, and she was, like, all over the Food Network for a long time. It was, like, 30-minute meals, and then the $40 or less, and all that crap, and it was, like, Rachel Ray all the time, and she annoyed the crap out of me.
Our pots and pans are Rachel Ray that we got for our wedding. They're like amazing. They've got these super thick padded handles. They're just like black, whatever, normal non-stick pots. But they're amazing. I love it. Like, I love how thick and cushioned the handles are. I just remember burning my hands all the time on my mom's like crock pots and Dutch ovens and whatever they're called. But he's on that's okay. I'm trying not to yawn. The Iron Chef, which they basically, I don't know how you become an Iron Chef, but like they pick an ingredient and it's like an Iron Chef versus just anybody chef, like from just like a restaurant.
Okay.
And then they have judges and they have to make like 5-6 courses, I have no idea, using this one ingredient. And it's always something weird. But he's one of them, and he's just like, this, if he's not smiling, he looks like he's just like mad at you. It's like this little Japanese guy that just always looks pissed off, and then he just breaks out into this grin, and it's like, oh!
Well,
Yeah.
cool. I'm glad you get someone cool at your event. That's going to be exciting.
So, yeah. But the Wine and Food Festival is actually run by, it's the Food Network South Beach Wine and Food Festival. So, literally, like, 5 minutes away are all of these, like, big, huge celebrity chefs, like, you know, Rachel Ray and Bobby Flay and all those other people, like, right down the street. So, we'll be partying at the JCC.
That's awesome.
with Morimoto.
Very exciting.
I'm so tired. If
Too
I
much
wasn't
work.
drinking like soda right now, I'd be like on the floor.
Well, what are you watching lately? What have you
I don't
watched
have time for
since?
TV.
You have time for TV? You don't watch anything anymore? How's Outlander going?
Everything has been on a hiatus.
Not
All
the
my shows aren't
Librarians?
back. I'm actually behind on The Librarian, but all my shows are on hiatus. The Outlander is going really well. Did you read it? You didn't read it, did you?
Or the first one.
Okay, well, I guess I'm like more than halfway. Like, they just got married. And I think I have to rewind my podcast because I missed so much and I don't have really any idea what's going on right now.
Okay. Yeah, it's
But I
kind
left
of a
it at work.
tumultuous time.
Yeah.
But they actually get married pretty early.
Well, I was
Like, a
actually
lot
looking
happens
at the...
before. What?
Yeah, I was looking at the iPad because it's split into 2 books, even though each book has like 1 million chapters. But I'm on the second book right now, or the second half of.
I don't know what just happened, but now I'm dying.
It's okay. I choked on lettuce earlier at dinner. I thought I was gonna die.
I'll be okay.
Deep breath. Drink some water. Or
Water's all the way over there.
whatever is nearby. Yeah, I don't really know what's going on. Like, they got married so that she didn't get taken away by her husband's ancestor, and now she's married twice. Like, I've been following it, but
Her second marriage happened hundreds of years before.
40
her first
years in
marriage.
advance.
Yeah, her first
Right.
marriage. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey
Yep.
stuff.
That one got away from me a
That's
little
like-
bit there at the end.
Stuff.
No, I really liked the first book a lot. I just really didn't like the second book at all.
Well, I'm not on it yet, so I'll let you know.
So I finished with the fangirl book, the Rainbow Rowell fangirl, and it was really good. It was So you know how sometimes you're reading a book and the protagonist does something and you're like, stop being such an idiot. Like, just blah. And you're really mad at the author because the author doesn't understand that the character would never react that way, or like this is just completely unbelievable and you want to throw the book at the wall. Apparently I'm really into throwing things because I keep bringing that up. Anyway, so the character in this book, the main character, Kat, I never ever felt that way about any of her bad decisions. Like every time she did something stupid, it was like, yeah, but I've totally done that. Or like, yeah, I really understand where you're coming from with that. It was never like, no, that's really dumb. Like nobody would ever do that. I don't know. So I really enjoyed the book for that reason. Because even when she did something stupid, like, I don't know. It just, the way it was explained, like the psychology of it behind it, and like her social anxiety and everything was like causing her to make do stupid things. Yeah. But you're like, oh, I get that. Like, I never wanted to throw her out the window or shake her and like, stop being so dumb.
That's good.
So I loved how the book was written. I thought it was really, really well done. So, if you're a fangirl, you should read the book, Fangirl. It's a good book.
I am a fangirl.
Exactly.
Big time.
It's a good book. And it's very, very quick. Very easy to read. Apparently, the majority of the book was written during the National Write a Novel in a Month contest thingy.
Really?
Yeah. The NaNoWriMo, I think is...
NaNoWriMo.
Yeah.
NaNoWriMo. That was actually the first one of those original I ever participated in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that original
one. So, the majority of the book was written during that. Which is cool because in the book, the main character is a writer, and they talk a lot about how she writes fanfic, and that's like her niche. And then she starts taking a fiction writing class, and her teacher's like, no. You have to write your own characters. You can't use someone else's characters. Like, no. So they talk about
I took a creative writing class. I took a creative writing class once, and I didn't write very well. Tangent, party of one.
Right? That's going to be the theme of this Wibbly, Wobbly, Timey, Wimey
this
stuff.
Is definitely Wibbly Wobbly stuff. Yeah.
So, anyway, good book. Totally recommend it. Very, very quick read. And then I've also been watching, I tried to catch up on The Librarians, but it's not on Hulu. And the only two options I have of watching it is through TNT's website or through the Verizon Fios website. And the Verizon Fios website is marginally faster. It doesn't bug out and like interrupt the stream as much. But they don't name the episodes properly, so I accidentally watched some stuff out of order, which was really frustrating for me. I hate when that happens. So now I've gone to only watching it on the TNT website, but it takes me like, they do full commercial breaks.
Oh god, I hate that.
And the commercials never get the stream interrupted, but the TV show does. So it takes me an hour and a half to watch one episode. It's so frustrating.
We watched Parks and Rec, the first two episodes, and as we're watching it, he's like, wait, they had triplets? It's like, what just happened? Like, I'm like, well, it's set 3 years in the future. So, I don't have any idea if we actually watched season 6. Because we watched everything on Netflix. We never watched it live. So we watched everything on Netflix, and then we just watched these on demand. So, and we couldn't watch season 6 on demand because it was $1.99 an episode, which is stupid.
That's really expensive.
nuts. Like, I think we just need to flip over to Netflix and see if we actually watched it. Mm-hmm. But I was kind of like, I don't have any idea. Like, did the other girl have her baby? 'Cause she left.
So you just skipped a season?
Pawnee, like, she left Pawnee. But I'm reading it on Wikipedia because I always, like, follow along on the episodes. And I'm like, okay, kind of that looks familiar. But kind of it doesn't. Like, maybe I was just making it up in my head.
Weird.
I have no idea. So yeah, it's possible we just skipped all of season 6.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't put it past us, so.
Yeah, especially if you went straight from whatever's on Netflix to what's airing now. Because it usually takes them like a month or two before they put the last season on Netflix after the new season starts.
Yeah. Now I feel like I need to go and look at Netflix.
I'm gonna go look that up.
I'm gonna go and check.
We never watched
I love how it's like, who's watching? Rebecca, Steve, or kids? There's no kids. Thanks for playing, though.
Yeah. Sometimes Patrick doesn't pick his profile, and so I get recently watched. Whatever he's watching.
I know, I get that stuff too.
Like,
I get that too.
Sweetheart, you have your own profile. Stop messing with my recommendations. I don't know. And since when does my list or like recently watched not show up at the top? It's like popular on Netflix, trending now. What is the difference between those two? And why do I have to scroll past them to get to my list?
Recently watched, popular on Netflix, action and adventure, top picks, I don't know. Well, there was some guy at Mega or Supercon, whatever, dressed like House.
That's funny.
I'm looking at House right now, so I'm like, oh, right.
I totally got where your brain went just then because I knew you were on Netflix. That was totally in your queue. Totally understood.
Totally glad. It's not letting me search. Whatever. I'll figure it out eventually, probably after season 7 ends.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I've been watching is Friends because it's easy to watch when you've got other things going on. I actually haven't watched that in several days, but I had been watching it pretty regularly.
I think I actually watched it all when it was on. That was one that I actually watched a lot.
I love it. I think it's a great show. It wasn't one of the things that we watched in my house when I was growing up, and I would catch it on syndication, but I never like watched it in order or like really knew what the storylines were. So I don't know, I'm really enjoying it. It's better than How I Met Your Mother, which I liked for the same reasons that I like Friends.
I never really consistently watched How I Met Your Mother. Like, I watched it enough to know what was going on.
Right.
But I didn't understand. I mean, I know why, but I didn't fully understand, like, why the end was, like, so tragic. But I find it very, very interesting that I don't even remember what I'm looking for on Netflix anymore. I'm just looking.
Parks and Rec.
Thank you. I find it very interesting that, I'm like, the kids were all filmed, like, the first couple of months that the show actually aired. Like, when he's telling them the story, because one of the girls, the little girl is, can't remember her name right now, but she was in Nikita. And now she's in something else that I really want to watch, and I can't remember. I'm totally out of it right now. But it came out afterwards, and she's like, oh, yeah, we basically had to sit there and just make all these, like, very generic, like, facial expressions, and, like, oh, wow. Like, they couldn't say specific questions and they couldn't do anything because they just kind of spliced it in like as it was going. Like, that's interesting.
I think the reason that the ending upset so many people is because the show started off with Ted loving Robin. And then we went in this big circle, and they dated for a while, and then Robin dated Neil Patrick Harris's Barney. There you go, Barney for a while, which is when we stopped watching it because it was stupid. And then a bunch of other stuff happened that I never watched, and then watched the last episode, and I feel like in the 5 years that I didn't watch it, I missed nothing. Nothing changed. And then we watched the last episode, and it was like, oh, and by the way, I'm really sorry your mom died of cancer. I still love Robin.
She was only in it for like a second.
Yeah.
Because the mom.
When we stopped watching it was when there was like the episode where Ted goes into the wrong class and he teaches an architecture class, but that's not what all the students are there for, and the mom is in that class.
Right.
Okay, so that's
I remember
like,
hearing about that.
Clearly, we are going to meet her soon, right? No, like multiple seasons before that actually happens.
So stupid.
I don't know. It was dumb. I don't know. Honestly,
But
I
people
never
were
watched it, so I can't really speak to it because I don't know what happened. I just know that when I finally did rewatch the last episode after it aired, I was like, well, I don't really feel the need to watch it now because this is how it's going to end, and I don't care.
I know so many people were just so pissed off.
Well, you get that invested in the show and you watch it for that long, and then at the end it's like right back where you started.
Kind of like Lost.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, you thought everybody was dead? Guess what they are?
Well, I saw something the other day, and now I have to look for it again, but it was like somebody that worked on the show came out and was like, they had no idea what they were doing. They just kept throwing crap at you every episode.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's like, oh, let's see what happens if these numbers actually mean something.
108. That's what they mean. They mean 108. But it's so funny because I love Lost. And Steve tried to watch it a couple times, and he's like, I don't get it. What is so fascinating about this show? Why do you watch it every week?
Is the whole group consciousness thing. Like, how did we come up with these things? Like, where did the Dharma Initiative shit come from? Where did the smoke monster come from?
The Dharma Initiative is the only part of it that he loved.
I like that part. I really do.
That's such a great idea.
I think that whole, like, conspiracy aspect of it and all that, I find that very interesting and very compelling. What I don't understand is how that fits into the larger narrative of we're all arriving at the conclusion that, like, we're all getting to the point where we can accept our deaths. That doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah. That frame narrative part of it doesn't, those things don't mesh at all.
And how did John Locke become the smoke monster, become the man in black, become whatever? Like, Jacob, no. Esau, like, can't ever leave the island, ends up outside of the island, has to go back because he's dead. Like, I loved it. I mean, I followed for the most part, but.
Yeah, I watched it on Netflix. Binge watched it all at once, so I think that made it a little bit easier, at least for me. Like, the way I watch TV, I have a hard time watching week to week because, like, I miss the pieces that weave it all together that way.
Right.
And if I watch it all together, I'm like, oh yeah, and that and that and that and that, and it's fine. So Lost, I think, was better for me that way because I would have totally not gotten it at all if I had watched it serial.
I heard about it, like, I think two seasons into it, like, kind of like in the middle of the third season, and I had a lot of friends that were like, oh, this show is great, you should watch it, And I was like, whatever. And then I borrowed the first 2 seasons DVDs. And I watched it all in like 3 days. And I was like, oh, when's the next episode come on? That was it. Like, I was gone. I was totally hooked to it. That was like 10 years ago. I'm like, I own all 6 seasons. I had to check. I have no idea how many seasons it is. It's Gilmore Girls. It's 7 seasons. 8 seasons. I don't own those. I never finished watching those. I know. I never finished watching those.
Yeah. I kind of stopped. I disappeared, and we were watching them together and talking about them, and I just kind of disappeared, and around season 3, honestly, like early.
It was after the crossover, because I was watching them both. He told me that I should watch them back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing that, and then I just stopped. Yeah, I guess when you stopped uploading them, I stopped watching them.
Well, Netflix now. It wasn't then. Now it is.
I need to figure out where they are or where I stopped, because I would actually watch it on Netflix, but I'm still watching Supernatural on Netflix that I haven't watched in months.
I'm behind on Supernatural, too. I don't understand how we got to where we are in this conversation right now. Not that I mind, but I'm like, we were talking about Friends.
Hi, this is a podcast about fibers and fandoms. Thanks for following along. We have no idea where we are right now. Hold up your fibers.
Actually, yes, I do. I'm in Jacksonville, Florida.
I'm in Miami, Florida. But I live here.
I live in this hotel room.
I want to go to bed. It's 11:15.
Oh, good Lord, I have to get up so early. At least I don't have to drive in Miami traffic.
I gotta tell you, being a national holiday, or at least a bank holiday / teacher holiday, I got to work in 35 minutes today.
Wow.
And I stopped to fill up my full tank of gas.
Wow. I don't recognize weekends or holidays in my current job. I work all of them.
I work them all too, but traffic is so much better when it's a holiday. The only other thing I have is the foster license.
Mm-hmm.
No, I see that. The only other thing I have is our foster license. We're working on it.
Super exciting. So is that something that they just, because I know you guys have been pursuing adoption, is that something they just said, this is something you should do for now? Or it's a step towards adoption, or what?
They have been telling us for months, probably over a year, that the best way to get a child into your home when you're trying to adopt from foster care is to have a foster license.
Mm-hmm.
But we decided very early on, like in our orientation, that we didn't want to be foster parents because it's really, really difficult. But getting to know this whole community and all the people that we have gotten to know over the years, however long it's been.
Years.
Foster parents, I know.
Yeah.
It's been like 18 months. Foster parents and adoptive parents and people that work as, social workers and caseworkers and, like, all the people that we have met are like, you need to get your foster license. Even if, like, we were called about a little girl, like a week and a half ago, and her parents, they're up the termination of the parental rights, the judge wants to put her into a pre-adoptive home technically, we are one of those.
Mm-hmm.
However, we are not foster parents. So she could not come and live with us. So
It's a weird
it's kind of like
distinction, though.
Well, we could, so like with the 13-year-old that we are dealing with, we could visit her.
Mm-hmm.
And we could go out with her and meet her and get to know her. And I mean, obviously, a 13-year-old is a lot different than like a 3-year-old or an infant.
Right.
You know, you get to know them, and then if it's a good match for everybody, then they would move in. However, not having a foster, it's like it's a very weird distinction.
Is it more just because, you know, a 13-year-old can vocalize their opinion and can say that it's a good fit for them, and if a younger, you have to have an extra layer or something? I don't know.
Well, I mean, the 13-year-old decided she did not want to get adopted, so she did not want to get adopted. We had already decided, yes, we wanted to adopt her. And long story short, she said, nope, don't want to be adopted, and that was the end of it.
Yeah.
The other 2 kids that were, you know, looking at contemplating bonding, well, we're only bonding with one of them because we only know one of them.
That was really loud.
She's you know, I mean, she's got her own problems that she wouldn't be able to move in with us anyway. But being a foster parent, we could actually request, we only want kids that are ready to be adopted, that are looking for long-term pre-adoptive placement. Parental rights have already been
for you guys, probably, right? Emotionally.
Right, and I mean, there's so many people that are just like, you just have to deal with it and get over it, and, you know, you're doing this for the kids, but we're in it too. Like,
yeah,
we want,
you have emotions too.
Right, like, we want to adopt. This is how we are going to grow our family. We don't want to fall in love with every child that comes to our house only to get disappointed and have them ripped away from us.
Yeah.
And that was our decision from the very, very beginning. And now we just have to basically, I mean, you're allowed to ask as many questions as you possibly want when they call you up and they're like, oh, here's this child, and here's, you know, this is how old they are, and this is where they're living now, and this is their health problems, and this is their this, and this is their this. And, like, you can ask as many questions as you want. You can meet them and still ask more questions. Like, it has to be a good fit for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the younger the child, the more, like you said, extra layer is involved, because you have to pass the caseworker and the therapist and the, you know, everybody.
Yeah, and they're not.
And that's.
I mean, it's a child regardless, but when they're not able to vocalize their own, you know, feelings, it's harder.
And I mean, we've, you know, bonded as much as you can bond with a 10-month-old. And, you know, when she sees us, like, she gets really, really happy, and, like, she smiles and she dances, and it's adorable, but she's 10 months old. She's not speaking.
Right.
You know, she can't say, yeah, sure, I'd love to go live with those people when I'm actually better and I can go and do that. You know, like, it is not easy.
Mm-mm.
That is for damn sure. And pile that on top of all the other crap that we're dealing with, and but we're getting our foster license, so that's the good news.
No, that is good news, though. That is good news. And hopefully it'll move stuff along for you guys, too.
Yes, because our second bedroom...
So hard.
Our second bedroom has had... Absolutely, we haven't been able to use it in over a year. Because it's been set up for a child.
Yeah.
So we are basically living in a 1-bedroom apartment, even though we have a 2-bedroom apartment. So.
Well, fingers crossed for you guys. I hope this helps stuff, because it deserve to be parents.
I mean, if you go and look at the post, the post when I posted that we actually got it and I posted the picture of it, every single one of those people were all my adoption people. They're like, finally, what is wrong with you? I'm like, yes, I'm hard-headed. It takes me a while. Like, those were, like, high up, people in the agency that have been telling us for a long time.
Well, and it seems like, the reason you decided not to do it in the first place is because you didn't want to get attached and have the child ripped away from you, but that's been the result anyway, because you get attached to these kids and
I mean, and we watched, like, our friends that we've met, like, over and over again, but, we have friends that, God willing, in 2-3 months will have actually adopted, and I think that that's, like, a big, I have goosebumps.
Yeah.
Like, it's, like, it's huge, because, we've known them, like, the entire process, and to see it actually happen.
Yeah.
Is like, wow, it does happen, and not just the people who've been around forever and ever and ever. Hopefully one day we'll be flashing a adoption announcement.
Well,
it's all picked out. Just need to fill in a name.
it's gonna happen because it's gotta happen.
It does. It's gotta happen.
Yeah. Hugs.
Now this podcast just got real.
I'm crying too. Stop it.
Oh, and on that happy note.
It is a happy thing, though. It is a happy thing. Because you're moving forward, you're trying a new tack.
Paperwork.
And there you go. Exactly. It is a happy thing.
Lots and lots of paperwork. This is just the initial assessment. But we're already, we already have our adoption stuff all finished and it's approved, and this is just another step.
This is just a way to kind of get the pipeline. Yeah. God, it's such a horrible thing to say about children, about trying to give children a home.
But, I mean, it's so bad because, like, we watched Despicable Me yesterday or Saturday or something, and, he goes in and he's like, okay, I want to adopt 3 little girls, and they sign on all the paperwork, and we kind of look at each other and we're like, really? That's how you're depicting adoption? Like, he walks in, boom, he walks out with 3 little girls? Like, that's not how it works. At all. Yeah.
Big hugs.
I hug my computer.
Hey, I have faith. It's gonna happen. And all of this is going to make you love that little boy or girl more. Because it was so hard and so worth it.
Oh, I know. They better be little nerds, too. They don't have a choice. No choice. Yeah, okay. So that's my life.
Well, so weepy and unfocused. This podcast.
Wibbly Wobbly. Wibbly Wobbly Timey Wimey weepy and unfocused. But at least we're not weeping angels.
Speak for yourself.
That'd be bad. That'd be bad.
And on that note,
on that note, bye.
Bye.